Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Convention with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We've made it through a couple of our a few of this week's Marvel books. Now it's going to wrap up this week's batch of Marvel books. Kicking things off, we've got Black Panther number 4. Where we left off, Besa and T'Challa had infiltrated a major important wedding for one of the basically giving a local crime family legitimacy. However, the festivities were crashed by Deathlock. So the issue begins with Black Panther fighting Deathlock, and a good chunk of the issue is the two of them fighting. But Black Panther realizes that Deathlock is not operating under his own volition, and manages to free him from the control of those controlling him. But Black Panther, T'Challa comes to visit Niobe with his own questions about what's going on, and we get some information as to what is going on in the rest of Wakanda. Caste discrimination legislation is up for debate. But T'Challa learns some more of the local flavor of bread of T'Chaka. That perhaps what's happened has actually been Kivuma. But when T'Challa asks who Kivuma is, because probably best to leave, actually. I got stuff that weren't finished. Probably shouldn't have said that name aloud. We get some more background on Besa. We learn that Besa is a trans woman. Also that her father, who is a Wakandan general, wanted his son to follow in his footsteps. It wasn't the fact of her being. It wasn't. And to be fair, she adds that it's not the fact that she's a trans woman that burned the bridge. Really burned the bridge between her and her family, so much as not wanting to be in the military, regardless of her gender. But he does. He asked her about Kivuma. Stating that she says that it's basically the devil. The devil did it. But Kivuma, if you believe it is real, is responsible for all manner of evil in T'Chaka. But it's a fiction. At a roller rink in town, some people are enjoying the roller rink when woman whips out a rather large weapon and opens fire. This is punctuated with Besa stating to T'Challa that war is brewing in BT. And regular people are going to get hurt. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting. I like. It was nice seeing Deathlock come back, and that he wasn't just being. It wasn't just the Deathlock body being used as, you know, as something to just be smashed up and just to be smashed up and forgotten about, but that apparently the Michael Collins character is still in there. Moving on to our next book, we've got Doctor Strange number 7. So, where we left off at the mystical assassin had revealed himself at the wedding of Umar and Tibero. The assassin, General Strange. And we learned that Doctor Strange fought in a war, a 5,000-year-long war for the Vishanti. Over that time, he became hardened and became, well, something of a monster. When the group that the Vishanti were fighting against, when they sued for peace, one of the things they required was basically getting, that General Strange be locked away. And so the Vishanti removed the essence of General Strange, put in a crystal that would be linked to Stephen Strange's life force, while Stephen Strange would return to life, no memory of the 5,000-year war. And of course, then Doctor Strange died, and so General Strange was unleashed. And he is making an army of the children of spirit, of the souls of spirit, or the souls of children. Most recently, absconding with the daughter of Umar and Tibero. The Doctor and the General argue a bit. The General finds it insulting that the Doctor was killed by Caecilius. And the recent magical murders are confirmed to have, yes, been committed by General Strange. The General takes his leave. Tibero basically blames the Doctor, and Doctor Strange makes it clear that every breath Tibero has taken since the moment of their first meeting is a gift that Strange has allowed him. Because the General had just left. That is what Stephen Strange could be if he forgot himself, if Tibero pushed him a bit further. Umar, however, simply asks that Strange find her daughter. Which, then Strange will absolutely do so. Say that mere dislike is nothing when a child's welfare is on the line. And while his dislike for Tibero and Umar borders upon hatred, their child will be saved. Back at the Sanctum, Wong, Pandora, Clea, and the Doctor are discussing these new revelations. And he explains that he is terrified of becoming the monster that they saw at the wedding. Which Clea understands, though she does want they are going to have to kill General Strange. too powerful to be contained as they've seen, too dangerous. Steven knows this is true. And so, taking out General Strange will begin the same way that his creation began, with an audience with the Vishanti. At General's war camp, he is priming his child spirit soldiers when Clea comes to see him. He did, after all, say, when you grow bored of the Doctor, by all means, come find me. To be fair, I think that this is basically it's a trick to get him to lower his guard. But that is where the issue ends, and honestly, so far I'm digging this run on Doctor Strange. I like what we're seeing, what's going on with it, and I'm very curious to see how everything plays out with the General. Moving on to our next book, we've got Moon Knight number 27. Where we left off, Black Spectre had freed Zodiac, among other surviving members of Moon Knight's Rogues Gallery. And Hunter's Moon had apparently been doing some work underground on behalf of Moloids. Meanwhile, Moon Knight has brought an old villain named Vibro, who's not doing well, to Hunter's Moon. And her Albedir is a doctor. Mark and Badir drink a concoction which takes them into Vibro's mind. There's a man being chased by aspects of Vibro, and somehow in the mindscape, Steven and Jake are present and is able to exist. But this man, Alton, is being chased by Vibro, and as the these aspects of Vibro continues, Mark and Hunter's Moon realize that Alton is Vibro. And so, Mark gives Alton the chance to stand up to Vibro, and looks like it works. Meanwhile, however, Black Spectre and his counselor are figuring out what to do. After all, they know that Vibro's been taken. It won't be long before he's broken. Which means that their timetable has been moved up. We also learn that where it is that Black Spectre is planning to strike from. Apparently, Black Spectre's had Vibro supervising drilling deep in the bedrock of the Manhattan schist, turning it into an enormous resonator to broadcast Stardust Madness music. Black Spectre has basically turned Manhattan into a giant tuning fork. He's going to project his kill sound through the entire city and everyone in it. it seems that Moon Knight does not have much time to prevent this from happening. Interesting. Sure. I keep saying this has been a solid new Moon Knight run from the word go. So yeah, there's not much to say beyond what happens. So, moving on to our last book for the moment, we have Scarlet Witch number 8. Where we left off, Wanda was entertaining Joseph, the clone of Magneto, basically helping him to find himself, go as far as say find forgiveness. So the issue begins with Wanda kicking open a door in Loki's throne room and initiating a truth hex. Then flashback to hours beforehand. Apparently, Joseph has been helping Wanda with dealing with various mystical threats. But there's a mountain giant in the shop. Came through the last door. He explains that the mountain giants were largely wiped out by Malekith and are pretty much nomads, and he wishes to represent them he wishes to represent the mountain giants within Jotunheim's government, as it were. While Loki and Wanda are talking, Joseph is dealing with a monster, with one of Jotunheim's frost monsters, but basically Wanda is Arkin's champion. The idea being, and they will have a duel with the truth, Loki and Wanda. A duel of honesty. Whoever cuts the deepest wins. And so, they tell truths to one another. As they do so, it appears they're dancing. They very nearly kiss even, but Wanda saying that she sees true kinship within Loki, a friend, perhaps even more, but only perhaps. And that is the tragedy, their tragedy. Adding that she admits that Wanda admits that her and Loki are more alike than she imagined, and he understands things about her that few do. There could be more between them, could even be love if nurtured in time, but only with an absolute true Loki, and that is someone who Loki will never be. And thus Loki yields, welcoming Arkin to his title. They embrace, and well, Loki does tell Arkin that Arkin has his title, and we'll see how long he keeps it. Wanda arrives with Joseph as he's finishing off the frost creature. Once they return to Earth, Wanda cleans off the frost monster guts, and he flies off. Wanda and Darcy discuss things, and while Wanda does appear to be more trusting of Joseph than initially, she will admit that she'll advocate for him, but Darcy is a bit less trusting. Turns out that Joseph is communicating, it would seem, by Morse code with the last hex finder. As the last hex finder kills a is dealing with Heinrich von Hate. But the Hex Killer tells Joseph to get closer to Wanda. Only a sure shot will hit. After she kills Heinrich von Hate, she explains that it's open season on witches. And that is where the issue ends. Ominous. Kind of bummed to see Joseph be not exactly on the side of the angels. Admittedly, not as bad as they were, but close. I was kind of worried that this would end up being that Joseph would be a pawn of Orcus, but thankfully not the case. Still, he's a pawn. Anyways, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Big shout out to Patreon patron Xander Lee. Thank you so much for your support. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Mastodon, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.